Hi guys, welcome to Wisdom 3, and today we'll be discussing about something that's very important for us, but we haven't really paid attention to it. The challenge is suicides in India. I've been doing this now for the last year and a half, and I've been trying to get people aware of suicides in India, but I was very scared of taking the next step. And through the journey of life in a business networking environment, I met Rakhi. Rakhi is the one who actually put the confidence in me to take it to the next level and include as many people as possible into this movement. So, Rakhi, would you like to introduce them to Ek Sahas?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Roshan. So we were just like kind of networking and we came across in one of these online networks. And then one day we were doing a one-on-one meet and he was talking about the kind of work he was doing. Of course, he's a trainer, he's a coach. And he did speak about, connecting with people who were going into these feelings of huge depressions and then having suicidal thoughts, and that's when it like kind of connected just like that. And I said, like, I have also written a book called Reclaiming Self, which speaks about which you can see over here, which wherein I also came across clients who had these suicidal thoughts. So like we just spoke about it and said, why don't you make it as a movement? You're individually doing it, but if we make it as a movement, it's a larger impact. We reach out much more larger. And I think he loved the idea and he said, yeah, why don't we do something together? And that's when Ek Sahas was born.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's all thanks to Rakhi that we have this movement in place. So, Ek Sahas is a target for us to help in India achieve a 1% decline in the growth rate of suicides among men, women, and children. The challenge is that we are not aware of why a person commits suicide, and we are not sure how to go ahead and help them in the time of need.
Yeah, so the idea of bringing in Ek Sahas was to actually to reach out to all these people who need help. And like Roshan, as he said, that we really don't know how to do it, but we really want to reach out. So the idea comes with the thought of Ek Sahas means one courage. And we all have one life, so let's protect it. And how we are going to do it is first, you know, getting to talk to these people, let them just, kind of open up as much as they want, just listen to them, right? And then we can probably work with them going along. So being both of us being coaches and he being a therapist too, that's how we plan to go along.
Absolutely right. So, we are planning to educate people, and you're welcome to join the movement as well, because we need as many people as possible. Because at the end of the day, our government
Absolutely.
is doing nothing about it. And I'm being very open to say this. They are only bothered about their vote bank politics, but we are bothered about life. And life is more important than any politics or any other business transaction that's there in the world today. And the worst part is children are committing suicides across India, and for the worst reasons of education. The same thing that was there to empower them is now helping them commit suicides. Right? So we need to change this paradigm and work towards a new and better future such that we all help each other grow. And with your support and help, we can definitely do that.
So Roshan, just imagine while you're traveling in metros and locals, person sitting next to you is smiling, but suffering from inside, suffering, to stay alive. Or when we think about all those deaths which are happening by suicide, but if we leave all the stats behind, what are we missing as humans?
Absolutely. I think today, as such, the world has become too mechanical in nature. Right? They just want a
Right.
transaction in relationships. They're not ready to emote themselves in a relationship. Obviously, I don't blame them for it. It's just the way the society has developed today. And with technology being at the advent of a backbone of society, the interaction between humans are reducing over the years.
Absolutely.
And we are not even seeing that the other person is going through some pain or suffering, because we are more bothered about what's in it for me. This wrong part of life that has been created by the Western world is something that we have to change for ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So Just, I was the other day going through some articles and I just came across the statistics of wherein we see men committing suicide to the percentage in India is approximately 72 to 73%. It's really huge. Women coming to the level of around 25%. And youth is 6%. That's really very, very huge. And that is exactly where I think we really need to come in to help them out, to reduce these numbers. And as you said, if we can even work as 1%, we may be a drop in the ocean as our Ek Sahas movement. But if we can even like touch few lives to that level of that 1%, what we're visualizing for ourselves, I think it would be a fantastic thing.
Exactly. The only way we can do it is if we ourselves learn what emotions about. The challenge over here is that most people are not able to identify when their relatives or the closed ones are going through challenges. And then when the incident happens, then they're saying, oh, I missed in looking into these signs that were there. Now, these signs are very, very clear for one who's trained into it. But what if you're not a trained person? You've not gone through psychology or therapy or counseling based classes to understand when a person's going through challenges. As a lay person, what are the best ways that you can identify these things? Now, they are very simple identifiers. One is the person gets close to themselves. They don't want to talk to others. They stay in a closed room.
They disconnect.
Two, the person as such is showing a lot of happiness. But in that happiness as well, there's a lot of enactment. There's no true happiness being showcased onto it.
That's very tricky.
Right? That is a tricky part, but we'll find out how to identify those parts as well.
Sure.
The third and very clear aspect of it is where they just run away from things. So when there's a challenge in front of them, they don't want to face that challenge. So they want to run away from it. Now, these three aspects can actually identify about 80% of the cases that can be avoided. And further aspect also, just 10 seconds of speaking quality conversations with them can advert their mind from suicide to living their life. It takes just 10 seconds. But the 10 seconds has a story of almost 10, 20, 30 years behind it that we have to associate with as well.
Yes.
And if you're not trained in this aspect, it'll be difficult for you to actually help them through with a challenging time. I was seeing a recent interview of Neetu Kapoor. What's her name? Neetu Kapoor, the actress.
Yeah, Neetu Kapoor.
Neetu Kapoor, the actress, was saying that I don't need therapy. I just need a friend. Unfortunately, our friends are not therapists. They are not trained into therapy.
Yeah.
Right? The challenge over here is that when you go to a friend can support you for your emotions for that period, but cannot resolve your mental illnesses that you have in your mind.
Or they can kind of stall it for some time, but yeah, like you said, they cannot resolve.
They cannot resolve it because they're not trained into it.
Yeah.
Like you would not go to a rickshaw wala and asking for a doctor's prescription, would you?
Correct.
You wouldn't go to a doctor and ask for an AC solution, right? If your AC is not working, you won't go to a doctor. Now that's the reason why professions are created and people are not understanding that part of it. Mental health as a challenge is developing in the world today because of our distancing from each other. We are more involved into technology and our mobile devices than we are involved with people around us. Traveling in the metro, trains, or any public area that you go to, you'll see all the kids and adults, they're all on the mobile phone. Nobody is worried about looking up and seeing the world around them.
Absolutely.
They are more involved into the mobile device, and that is the cause of the first cause of your mental illnesses. Refusing to interact with other human beings.
Yeah, like we also see like when families go out for dinners or even at home, everyone is on their mobile.
Absolutely.
People have stopped talking actually.
Yes.
They stopped making conversations. So they have stopped connecting emotionally too.
Exactly.
So that's exactly what you were saying earlier.
Absolutely.
People have stopped connecting with each other. Everyone's just using mobiles and doing whatever they want to. But that emotion connection, we are losing huge way. So it's kind of, and that is one of the reasons I feel people, who are already so stressed, and when something comes along, See, nobody reaches to the point of suicide at one go. It's a process, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, First, they are stressed, the anxiety builds in, and then over a period of time, if they are unable to cope with those challenges of that anxiety, stress, and they don't get those emotional supports, or they withdraw, as you said, some of them withdraw by choice, uh, then they start feeling depressed. They stop going out, they stop working, they can't focus on work, they stop meeting friends. All these, like you said, are the signs where one can identify something is wrong. And then over a period of time, it goes to the level of when they feel totally hopeless, no emotional support, and that thought of living anymore, they just lose on that. That's when suicide comes.
Absolutely. The most important point over here is hopelessness. Now, the challenge of today's youth is that they are not able to capture failure into their lives. The pressure that the parents and society at large put onto them for education, which is supposed to be their backbone for growth, is now becoming the reason for suicide. Now, at this point of stage, when most of the kids that we read about, why do they commit suicide? Because they feel that they are a failure to their family, they are a failure to society, and they don't have any hope for themselves. This hopelessness that is there has been ingrained by we ourselves. We as society has put this into the mind of the students, of the youth, of saying if you fail, there's nothing more for you in life.
Yeah, and actually, that's not the end, it's just the beginning.
Absolutely. So failure is a stepping stone. But these guys create it as a full stop. That's the end of it. Now, how do we go and change this? The first thing what parents need to do is relax their pressure on children for education. Education is just supposed to give them knowledge. Marks are not going to define whether a person is going to be successful or not in life. Unfortunately, statistics has proven to us that people getting marks are not always successful.
Absolutely. I think some of the biggest CEOs and entrepreneurs are actually not even 12th grad sometimes.
In the past, yes, I would agree with you in that. Some of them are not even educated these days.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have most of them while they were in the higher grades of education, today as such you have millionaires in India who are not even educated well enough. Right? There are many people who don't even need education for that matter. And that's where education is taking a major fall because they are not even improving themselves. I mean, look at your car. The car 100 years ago and 100 years and today. The difference between a car of 100 years ago and today, you can see a big difference into it. But look at the education of 100 years ago and today, it's just the same.
So the problem is not education, the problem is academics, actually.
Okay.
That is how I differentiate
Sure.
it, because academics is what is being taught to us theoretically, but we get educated when we can imbibe the knowledge in our practical form.
Absolutely, yes.
So academically, I think over the years, the government is following the same curriculum. So it's not interesting, it's not of today. The knowledge what we are gaining is what probably was 30 years back also, the same. So what we need the government or the education system to change and bring in an absolute different format which is more practical in knowledge, which will give more enjoyment in learning something more practically rather than just theoretically, things. Because yes, theory is important, but at a level. Now when we come to these competitive exams, 99%, 98%, and those students are also suffering so much from inside. Even that 0.2% what they don't get. Why is there so much of pressure?
Absolutely. So the social pressure that has been created over the last 20, 30 years for marks because of the competitiveness of our society at large is a major challenge for our society. Now the challenge over here is that we all want a better life. But a better life is not got by marks, it's got with skills of reasoning, of problem solving, of creative thinking. These are the parts that these three skills are going to be the formative skills in the future. So whether you have mathematical knowledge, grammatical knowledge, or you have any kind of science or social science knowledge is going to be irrelevant. Your three skills that are so important is the reasoning abilities, your problem solving skills, and your creative thinking. And how do you
Absolutely.
incorporate this? Finland and Sweden, as an education device, have actually created this that they can help students be innovative and creative right from a young age. You have children at the ages of 12, 13, 14 creating major programs and earning monies at that age. In India, we have children creating reels, dance reels, and stupid reels that have no educative value for them at that age.
Right.
On the other side, that we were talking about education and the academics of it. Parents, as such, assume that marks define the person. Now, what happens over here is in the 10th grade, they get in the 90s. When they reach the 12th, they get in the 80s and the 70s. When they reach the senior level education, they come to the 50s and 60s. Because education by itself, it becomes that more dynamic in nature that you cannot get a higher percentage at that time. It's not possible.
Right.
Because innovative and creative thinking cannot really have a complete measure to get 100% into it. Now think of a child who's always said 100% until 10th. Suddenly their grades are decreasing after that. They don't see the same challenge or the same appreciation that they got until the 10th.
Right. Absolutely.
And then what happens? By the time they're 25 to 30 years of age, they're saying, I'm a failure in life and I've got no value for me. I'm not getting 100% anymore. I've got so many people coming to me who are saying that I've not done my job correctly, although it was amazing. But the perfectionism in them that has been instilled in this 10%, the perfectionism that has been instilled in them because of this 10th grade results creates a bias for themselves as they grow up, and that leads to maximum suicides in the age group
Own
of 25 to
expectations
35.
change. Yeah.
The expectations are not changed, the expectations are set at perfection.
Correct.
And because of the set at perfection, between 25 and 35, you got the maximum number of suicides in India of men and women. Now, this has been created not, as you rightly said, not at that day of the age of 25, 26, but through their childhood. And that's how the people are such a feeling completely hopeless and left out at that time. So, a very nice point to say that we as a society are responsible for the wrongs that are happening in our society. So, if we don't change our outlook towards them, it'll be so much more difficult for us to allow another person to commit suicide. But we need to change first. And if we don't change, we are not going to allow the suicide rates to come down.
Yeah, so speaking of the youth, I would also like to really bring the attention towards the men and the women. So when I said literally 72 to 73% of the men commit suicide, and the other side 25% approximately women committing suicide. Now these numbers are also super huge. So, understanding why do you think really the men are, into committing suicide in such huge numbers, Yes, I do understand that one thing what I have seen around myself is, when like my brothers or others who have grown around me, "Mard ko dard nahi hota," that dialogue which is there. So they have been taught, you don't cry, you just like, if something has happened, you just get up and you start moving and all those kind of things which has been inculcated since childhood. It's a belief system which has come through. But is that I feel that is one of the large, big reasons for men not to actually emote. So maybe something you can add, being.
So what happens over here is most of the men in India, as you rightly said, are not allowed to emote. They feel that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crying is a sign of weakness. I remember at one time when I was watching a movie and I started crying, my son started laughing at me, saying, "Dada is crying." He didn't understand that it's okay for a man to cry.
Yeah.
But he was being told at the age of 5 and 6 that, it's not good for boys to cry. He was surprised to see that Dada's cooking and cleaning. That's mama's job. I said, who told you it's mama's job? Right? There's a wrong education value that's been provided to our society that men have A form of responsibility and women have B form of responsibility. And anything interchangeable is not acceptable to our society. So if a man behaves as a house husband, he's looked down upon. If a woman is going to work and not doing the housework, she's looked down upon.
Absolutely.
Now, both the sides of the fence has to change. Yes, 100, 200 years ago, it was a different paradigm where men used to go and fight wars, they used to go and work the laborers' jobs. But today, society has changed. The dynamism has changed. Technology doesn't deem us to have that much of labor as we had 100, 200 years ago.
True.
Men and women can interchange their responsibilities. Why can't a man be a house husband? Why can't a woman go out and work and not cook in the kitchen or clean the house?
Absolutely.
There are multiple opportunities on both sides of the fence, but we as a society are not accepting it. Now, most of the women are committing suicide for dowry and marital based problems.
Yes, a lot of marital issues.
Most of the men are committing suicide for financial, and second is marital issues. But financial is the first, where they have the responsibility of getting finance for the houses and they're not able to do that. And that's the reason why they commit suicide. The second is marital problems, where I would say for both the men and women is kind of balanced.
It's balanced, right?
In that kind of format. But the more important point is that men don't want to emote and allow themselves to be vulnerable. I would say crying is the best way of emoting and releasing most of the emotions. But men can't do it. I myself struggled with it for many years, thinking that I'm a man and I can't cry. Until I started crying and I said, ooh, that feels good. That feels nice.
Yeah. In fact, like when I was going through my worst 3 years back, and financially we were struggling. And my husband is one of those types who keeps smiling. That's the first thing when we spoke about, the person sitting next to you smiling, but you don't know what's going inside. So I actually, you will not believe, and that's what I've also written in this book, Reclaiming Self. It's about true stories. And the first chapter is my own chapter, wherein I have written that every morning, if I'm early, getting up early, I'm checking, putting my finger under his nose, whether he's breathing or not. It's such a scary thing. Somebody, is suffering inside, maybe smiling outside. You don't know what's happening. And as you said, for men, it's very difficult to emote. And he was just one of them. He will not cry easily. He will show he's a very strong person. He can take care of the family. He can take care of the responsibilities. Even if he's struggling inside, he'll push himself to the limit. It's kind of like very difficult for men to share, but which can, prove very scary for the, for the wife or the sister who's living alone. Not to know actually what is happening with the person.
Absolutely. And that's
we as women can cry, we can scream, which we tend to do most of the time, but men don't.
Yes.
They can be angry. At that time they may scream, but to emote that what they are going through usually does not come.
Absolutely. See, most of the challenges over here in suicide for be it man, woman or child is the emotional support that they have from the family. To say that, in Shah Rukh Khan's famous dialogue, "Main hoon na."
Correct.
The fact of saying that if I know that I have someone I can fall back on, maybe a friend, maybe my mother, my sister, my father, my brother, anybody for that matter. As long as I know that I have that emotional support at the back, I will not be wanting to commit suicide. Right? Let's try to understand that the number of suicides in India are a fraction of the population. But nevertheless, it's increasing year on year. That means the emotional support for these people are reducing year on year. And that is where we need to plug the gap through Ek Sahas that we were looking for, is that the emotional support from the family side towards the children, towards your spouse, towards your parents, towards your brothers and sisters, that has to increase.
Yes.
That, the fallback that a person looks at, the trust, that is diminishing day on day within every individual. Today, I see most husbands and wives don't trust each other. Brothers and sisters don't trust each other. There are parents and children who don't trust each other. And the relationship bond is breaking away, with that emotional support is missing amongst all of us. We need to rekindle this emotional support. And the first thing we need to do is understand that how as a family we can do things together. For all the parents out there, I need to go and share this, is that you need to ensure that your children understand that you are there for them. For all the brothers and sisters that are there out there, we need to inform them that they have to share, open up themselves so that their brothers and sisters can come and open up to them. Let them emote themselves. This is the first basis, the foundation of it from family.
Yeah, because I think communication, emotion sharing is always two ways. It cannot be one way. So if we build a structure from the beginning where people can come and talk together, can share their emotions. And that is why, for family, especially, I feel that when we used to have this system of having dinners together, at least one meal together,
Absolutely. Yes.
it can be a great support.
Yes.
Anybody, whoever is sitting, can just come and talk, whatever they are feeling. It may be education based for the children, sports for them, or it may be parents, what they have gone through during the day. Something has happened which probably, they have not liked. Probably the boss has behaved badly, or some colleague has come and said something, and, whichever way. But yeah, if you create a system where everybody, every member around can come and talk, then I think when there's two-way communication, it's easier to talk, easier to build that trust, easier to build that safe space without being judged to come and speak. And I think that can prove as a great support system in the family.
Absolutely wonderfully said on that, Raki. And that's the main thing that is missing in today's family. Because having dinner by itself is with a mobile device or the TV and your food. You're not really talking to anybody when you're in that process of having a meal. It may not be dinner also, maybe breakfast, maybe lunch, or any one meal a day.
Any one meal, yeah.
And that's very important. It's a very important point that you've shared, Raki, is that we have refused to connect with each other even on the family level today, which is creating most of the other problems. Right? Now, in the A tier and B tier cities, we are still there where we can communicate with them. But more in the villages is becoming more of a challenge. Children in the villages feel that there's a better life in the city.
Yes.
Children in the city are feeling strangulated because of the challenges that they have for themselves. And parents are not able to merge these two together. So the aspirational thought of students, of children and adults for that matter as well, is creating them to get strangulated amongst the emotions that they are having for themselves. अरे उसके पास वो है, अरे उसके पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है.
Comparison.
The comparison value of it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the challenge of our society is we always compare ourselves to others of saying what has someone better or someone has less. Now, if we see ourselves for who we are, we would not need to compare ourselves to say, oh, he's doing X, he's doing Y. Oh, I'm a failure, I don't have to do this. On what measure are you saying you're a failure?
Right.
Right? There have been businesses in India and abroad where people have started at the ages of 60 and 65. The more famous ones are Abraham Lincoln was the one of the most respected presidents of the United States, but he was a failure through all his life. All his businesses failed. But yet he is known as the best president of one of the most respected presidents of the United States. Closer home, there are multiple such examples where people at different ages have struggled and they've found success as well at the end of it. The point is that we need the emotional support, we need to understand failure, and we need to understand that communication is the best way to go ahead and resolve your issues. Unlike some people go and use bulldozers, we won't be doing that. We would like to use the conversation of love. We like to use the conversation of love and the conversation of respect with each other so we can better ourselves on that.
Conversation with kindness, which is very important. But as you said, the comparative thing, I think social media plays a big role in that. Because we are looking at the reels, we are seeing all the hunky-dory things all around us, which is not the truth. It's not the truth at all.
Correct.
But, I think today's youth especially, but even adults, see so much of reels, they're spending so much of time on social media that they are coming to believe that that is the actual world, and they stop living themselves, start comparing. Just like you said, uska zyada acha hai, ya uska, that person has more than me. Not knowing the fact or not going into the depth of it, that actually what is the truth. And that can be really a killer within oneself when you start comparing. That's the start when things start going wrong within oneself.
Absolutely right. We have actually introduced a mental health kit for everyone in which you can create self-awareness for yourself. And in creating self-awareness for yourself, you can also identify with others around you and help them also in the long run. So you can also identify with others around you and help them in the long run as well. Now, the mental health kit is a booklet that we have prepared for everyone to identify who you are as a personality. Now, when you identify yourself with it, you'll be able to see the changes in the world around you. How people approach you, address you, and how they have a certain conversation with you. What do you think, Karaki?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this toolkit which we have come up for Ek Sahas is really going to be a kind of a self-help guide for every individual. It just not need not be for people who are actually facing certain challenges or coping with them, but even for an individual to understand who they are, and it will help them in their growth in understanding themselves and help them to cope with their own challenges. So being self-aware of what I'm going through, and then being able to align with what I'm doing. If we can merge them together, I think the way forward is much more healthier and a better way to cope with our own challenges which are going to come forward, maybe financial, maybe relationship, whichever ones. But it will really help to have a better mental state, and that wellness what we talk about
Yeah.
will remain over there. So people are much more peaceful while they're understanding themselves and they know how to move ahead in life.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So let's get into the root of the problem. I think the root of the problem here is parenting. The parenting skills in India are very, very prehistoric in nature and they are not adapting to the current times. Technology has become the backbone of society and will become much more as a skeleton of society going forward, but parents are still going through a requirement that academics and marks are so important for their children. They're not trying to understand the knowledge and the power that they can give their children through other means and sources.
Right.
It can be through sports, through hobbies, through extracurricular activities, anything else that they can include their children into. Academics is not the end goal, right? I've got many IIMs and IIT and UPSC grads who are coming to me for counseling. It's not that they are not smart. It's just that they've got burnt out by the time they're 25, 35 years of age. You're getting them the accolades in the early stage of life, but what happens after they grow up? You are not there with them.
Right.
As a parent, are you preparing them to face the world or just be in the room to get some marks? I have a UPSC grad who's in a very senior position in the government bureaucracy, but he doesn't know how to talk to his wife. He's saying, I was only preparing for UPSC for 8 years, I do not know how to talk to people. He cannot socialize, he doesn't have a social circle.
Are not
lost.
being developed. Yeah.
Never been developed.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to have a communication with his wife. He doesn't have friends to speak to him. Because he was so bothered of UPSC,
Yeah.
that he's lost it. Now, the challenge over here that comes is that people have to understand that parenting is the first step of making a great, worthy citizen in the planet. And parents have that responsibility. If we can fix the parenting skills, we can actually go and resolve almost 80% of the world problems in the world that are existing in the world today. And we can have this done very conveniently. But parenting is something that we are not addressing, and we are not really going ahead and looking into the reasons why parenting is bad and how to go and make it better. People are not paying attention to that side.
So, like being a youth counselor, sometimes I do have, I counsel these kids of 15 years, 18 years, and parents come and, they have a lot of complaints about the children. Sunte nahi hai, falana dikna, ya phone pe rehte hain, ya they're not being able to focus in their academics and whatever it is. Somewhere down the line, while having a conversation with the kid, you realize that it is not actually the kid problem. It's actually the parent problem.
Absolutely right. Exactly.
And parents are not ready to understand हम गलत नहीं हो सकते हैं. Like
Correct.
I cannot be wrong. That's how parents feel. So it's not there. So as you said, the parenting, if done correctly, we can have children growing up with a lot of confidence
Absolutely.
and understanding that failures is okay and we can keep doing. what we
Absolutely.
want,
Exactly. That's the first root of the problem. The second root of the problem is society. Right? In India, we have this very famous saying, "Log kya kahenge?" What will others think about me if I do a certain action, if I wear a certain cloth, if I speak a certain language? The challenge over here is that society by itself is ruled to make sure that you're proving yourself to others.
Right.
When you don't have to prove yourself to others. The only person in life you have to prove yourself to is to yourself. The mental health kit that we have prepared is for this very purpose as well. So that society is left second in validation and we ourselves are validating what we are doing right or wrong. Right? I'm not saying that by you harming others or by saying wrong of others, you're doing something good. But how about you thinking good of yourself first?
True.
When a person can't think good of themselves, they really can't think good of others. So in society, you have these people saying, oh, look at this guy, he got X marks. So look at that person, he went to X school or X college into that. There's no proper comparison.
Or in fact, even you find, where the people say, Arey, why is he gone into this profession? Usme kahan paisa hai?
Exactly.
उसको जरूरी है कि कुछ करे जब इतना पढ़ाया लिखाया. Why is he going into those professions like maybe, becoming an artist, theater artist, or, painting or music, anything. So, these are all kind of where society comes and gives those pressures that, this is not right.
Absolutely.
And we get into those structures.
I think the challenge is that all parents and society wants people to be financially successful.
Yeah.
And in that financial success, they get the respect that they think that they deserve. Now, in the recent studies that I think it was Harvard or some Western university that did it, they found out there were 23,000+ careers that are available for people to choose from. But in India, we have only 5 careers that we choose from. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, accountants, and if nothing works, teacher. These are the only 5 professions that we are aware of. Apart from that, there are thousands of other professions that are there that we can choose from. Like you said, be an artist, be it a photographer, be it a musician. You could be a good plumber. You could be a good electrician. And as our great Prime Minister would say, you could be a great vada pav wala as well.
Chai wala.
Chai wala as well
Right.
into that, right? Right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that we have to expand our horizon as society to respect people of different stratas of society. Right? It doesn't mean that a driver has no respect and a CEO of a company has more respect. We need to balance this equation in society, which in India is very difficult.
Very, very difficult.
But I think we have to break that hierarchy in society of saying that there is equality and there is respect in any job that you perform. That's when society at large will accept and grow any set of jobs. Like we were discussing earlier, cricket is the only sport that has any kind of career in India, future in India.
If it does.
Any other sport, athletics or badminton or football or hockey, they have no respect in India at all. They have no career for themselves in India at all. That's because society has made that in that.
Yes.
So society has to change, and society change again by me, by I myself. If I can change, then society can change. And we need to use this mental health kit to help people change and administer themselves, to promote others, to help others get better. This is the main part of society coming to that part that I feel.
Absolutely. I think, one is respect for any work. What we are doing is very, very important. Today, like you said, when our children go to study to US, UK or wherever, as a part-time job, if they are working in a restaurant, as table serving or anything across behind the counter, over there it's okay. But over here, it will not be accepted. तुम्हारा बेटा भाई क्या कर रहा है? नौकरी ऐसे कर रहा है कि serving people. I mean, it's an absolutely taboo in our society. So this thing needs to go.
Exactly.
Respect to every job or every work which is being done by the youth or anyone as a matter of fact. Let's not have so much of discrepancy. And when we stop this differentiation, in whichever form it comes, then we can build a much more healthier society.
Absolutely right.
And people will feel good about whatever they are doing, even if they are not earning enough to support their family, but they will still be in peace that at least I'm doing something, I'm getting something, and it's okay. It's okay for them.
Exactly.
That is what it should come with.
Absolutely
It's
right.
okay what I'm doing. My parents are okay, or my siblings are okay. People around me are okay, and I'm also okay with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's very important for us to understand that it's okay to choose any career or profession and follow that which you're good at. If you're passionate about it, follow it. It's okay. It's okay that you're not earning as much. It's okay because at the end of the day, keeping the self happy is more important than keeping others in society happy at large. The third pillar, as such, that we need to change is our identification of how we can exactly understand how other people feel and emote. Now, we have heard of different cases where a person is very happy and still they committed suicide, whereas a person is very sad and they committed suicide. Now, how do we identify such people? The identification of this starts with the first part of building the trust so that they can share their truths and their lies with you. They can be honest with you and not have the malice that you would be distrusting them.
Absolutely.
You'll be taking them for an advantage with the truths that they share with you. Right? I think this will start off only by each one of us having this code of conduct with our friends and our family to say that what they tell me in confidence, I do not misuse it or abuse it against them, but I hold that trust value with them so that they can share anything with me and I don't judge them for it.
So, what we need is a safe space for somebody to come and talk to and trust. If these two things can work,
Yes,
I think anybody can come and just talk and be in a better state of mind.
absolutely, absolutely. The challenge over here is that people need to trust another person in their life, which today, as such, the trust quotient is depreciating because as we discuss social media, society, and so many things happening, it's not building that trust factor with the other person. They feel that being vulnerable is a weakness, but
Yeah.
it's not a weakness. It is a way to keep you strong. Because in your weakest point, you're the strongest in yourself.
Strongest, that's true.
Right? Many people don't understand that. And especially at the lower rungs of society, they are not really challenging that admonition to it. So we need to change that thought. We need to change ourselves before we can change society at large. So identifying someone is not that easy or difficult, but being there for someone is very important.
So, like Roshan, you said, like, being weak can actually, you are being strong somewhere. So when society come and says, things like these kind of dialogues, I really don't understand, or I probably cannot connect. Be positive. Sab theek ho jayega. It's probably time. And those kind of things actually don't help. If you ask me, at that stage when people are vulnerable,
Yeah.
and they're going through the lowest, these kind of dialogues actually do not work. What would more work is, tell me what's going through your mind. Let's have a conversation.
Absolutely.
These dialogues are just, in fact, sometimes just push off people. Okay, I don't want to make a conversation because this advice is coming. I really don't want to listen to. And that person is not understanding.
Yes, yes. Yes, it's so important. Like we were just sharing, is that the conversations are the cure of all problems in life.
Yeah.
Having a heart-to-heart conversation is so much more important than making a very formal structure. Even in therapy, with most of my patients, I don't really make it a formal structure because then they keep the distance from me. Right? As a therapist, also, if there are therapists out there, you need to realize this, that you cannot make it a formal structure. You need to make it a more social, casual structure that people can trust you for this matter. It's so important for us to understand this, is that society is built on social cultures, not on formal cultures.
Right.
Right? We need to go ahead and be more social. Speak to people. It's okay. Right? As you rightly said, it's okay for anything to happen in life. It can be good, it can be bad. It's okay. Right? Like, would you like to share the incident of your son's friend?
Yeah. So this is like couple of years back when my son had just started his hostel life and he was doing his engineering, so he had moved out. And one day he just calls up and says, Ma, there's a friend of mine. I think something is not right. So then I asked him to tell me what was happening. He said he's going through his lows, but we just feel that, he's not in the right frame of mind. He stopped talking suddenly. He just doesn't want to get out of bed. He doesn't want to go and attend classes. And we are really scared for him. And not that I think the child was very intelligent, but somewhere these boys who were in the group, they felt something was wrong. So what they did was, very surprisingly, after he spoke to me, I said, just be there for him, at every point of time. So they ensured that out of those 5 boys, always one boy would accompany him everywhere. Even in the night, one of them would sleep with him. Because they were so scared that, probably he would go and do something, because suddenly that the boy who was facing challenges, was trying to cope with it, seemed totally out of the space, in a very different mode. And they ensured, they did such a beautiful thing by themselves. They removed every sharp element from the room. Pen, pencil, knife, hangers, everything which they could think of, which that probably boy could use to harm himself. Now think how they thought at that point of time. That advice did not go from me, except for that, be with him. Listen if he has to say something. And they stayed with him till that boy's parents came down. So this is something, what we need to do. Be there.
Absolutely.
To listen, be there, to be for each other. It's not the advice, but just to understand what that person is feeling.
Absolutely.
May have a smile on the face, but if they're suffering from inside, just to pick from something what they have said. Sometimes they say such things which we may just kind of let go, but we just need to pick that point and understand that something is wrong.
Absolutely right. As you rightly said, being there for someone, that's the main gap that is being created in society today because of the emotional disconnect that is happening because of technology. So we need to exactly go and address that. And I think it's a wonderful example they have shared of your son's friend. And I hope he's doing well right now.
He's doing fantastic. In fact, he did his IM, he studied at IM, and now he's a very successful boy.
Wonderful.
Working in Delhi, Noida somewhere. But he's doing amazing now.
Amazing. And that's the whole importance of the whole process. The process is that if you get the right support at the right time, you can make a huge amount of difference. So Ek Sahas is a program that you need to follow. Log into the website eksahas.wisdom3.com. You have the details in the caption. Register yourself as a counselor, or if you want any support from there. The first session is free. You will not be charged for it. And we are trying to make it as minimalistic as possible on the charges. So counselors, if you want to register with us, please come and register. Therapists across India, across the world, if you are there, we are welcoming you. People who need help, you will be kept completely anonymous. We'll be safeguarding it for your protection. We'll be also ensuring that none of your data is being released to others. So when you come for therapy with us, only you and the counselor will be registered with each other. Nobody else will know that part of it. We welcome
it's a safe space, absolute safe space. We are trying to create that.
Wonderful. And exactly. And we are creating this space for anyone and everyone through all stratas of society. We have kept our fees as low as 500 rupees per month, not per session, but per month. So I'm sure that you can also afford it tomorrow. The Telemanas service is always available at 14416. It's a free service that the government has provided for us. You can go and address your issues there as well. It's a very nice platform. It's toll free and there's no charges for it. So you can call them as many times you want in a day for your support.
So yes, Ek Sahas, one courage. Take that one step to connect, to go and talk rather than keeping things to yourself. And be able to cope with those challenges to move forward in life. Because we have one life and just let's protect it. So reclaiming self is about real stories, real challenges, real transformations. It has 9 stories, wherein the first story is my own story, and the rest are of course, the client stories. And the idea of writing the book is that the challenges, when you read these challenges, these are challenges which people like you and me are facing every day. These are our challenges. So the whole understanding is that how you cope with these challenges, how you bring in those mind shift changes to help yourself to cope and bring in those transformations.